Just really grateful. That's the strongest emotion. First of all, just excited to continue to be part of this community. Marquette's a special place for a lot of reasons. Men's basketball is only one of them. And I think all the reasons that make Marquette special are all related to one another. But for me, the chance to be at a place that has values that mirror our values as a family, Maya and I, as a basketball program, we care about relationships, growth, and victory. And that's what we come here every day. And our staff works very, very hard, and our team works very, very hard. And you don't want to be somewhere where that's not reciprocated by the folks around you. And Marquette is terrific from that standpoint. Bill, Dr. Lovell, I've worked for 6 presidents and 6 ADs. Never been around a better combo in terms of your 2 bosses, the 2 guys that you look to for guidance and leadership and support. Every single day, it's collaborative. We work together. We communicate as much or more than any coach and AD and president that I know about. So I really appreciate that. And then most importantly, our players and our coaches, to have a chance to be around them every day. John Wooden said, they asked me why I coach, and I reply, where else would I find such splendid company? And I feel that way walking in these doors every single day. So getting a chance to be here with Stevie Mitchell, Cam Jones, Tyler Kolek, Oso Ighodaro, David Joplin, all the guys on our team, and then the guys that make up our coaching staff, get a kick out of working with them every day. They keep me on my toes. They're all different. And to have this as a job and to get a chance to be part of it and have the opportunity to do it for a lot longer here is really special.
I know you'd like to be where your feet are, but in 2030, you're going to have been a head coach for 2 decades. You're going to be in your early 50s. Have you ever mapped out how your career was going to go, and did you see it lasting this long?
One of my mentors is George Raveling, and Coach Rav always said, plan out your life in 5-year increments. And so I remember he told me this long ago. And so it's, 30 to 35 and 35 to 40 and 40 to 45. And we were talking, I think it was about a year ago, and he said, all that's changed. He said, now you better plan out your life in 2-year increments, because just the way that the world is changing is at a rapid pace. So I'm not really focused on 2030. What I'm focused on is 2023. Our team, but I do know this. I believe Marquette is the place to be, first and foremost for me, but also for our current players, for young players that come to visit here, for coaching staff members that want to be a part of something special. And so there's no real time stamp on that. That's the fact, that's the case now, and we want that to continue to be the case for a long time.
When you first got here, obviously you come here wanting to be successful on the court in all those sort of ways, but in the ways that the team has been successful, not only in the wins and the historic nature of last year's season, but just overall, did any of that surprise you, the path to getting there?
No, it didn't surprise me because that's what we expect, and that's what we're striving for every day. Our mission is to create and sustain championship level success. We can't put that on the wall in our office and then be surprised when it happens. And the good thing about sustaining, that means it's always ongoing. It's never done. It's never over. We live in this interesting era of college sports where most programs look elsewhere for quick fixes or, the ability to upgrade their program, and their roster. And we just don't believe in that, and that's nothing against the way that anyone else does it. But for us, it was interesting. This time last year, there was a lot of doubt about some of the younger players on our roster from people outside of these doors. And I don't pay any attention to that. Every once in a while, it crosses my desk or it comes on my phone from someone sending something to me. But we had absolutely no doubt that Stevie Mitchell, Cam Jones, David Joplin, Omax Prosper, Oso Ighodaro, and Tyler Kolek would become a lot better in the course of several months than they were at this time last year. And that's exactly what they did. And the number one component of that is relationships. the way the guys feel about one another. And that's hard to understand if you don't really work in sports, or if you don't play, or if you don't coach, because you look at a stat sheet and there's nothing on there about relationships. You look at a cumulative box score over the course of the year, and you see how many points or rebounds or assists a guy averaged. You look at his numbers in the weight room, it's the bench press and the squat and different things, but you can't measure relationships. And the relationships that our guys have with each other is something that is very, very powerful, and it drives their development. I know that's, maybe people feel like those things are different, but you get better because of who you're around every day.
So you talked about trying to avoid quick fixes. Obviously, the way your roster is right now, you didn't really have room to add guys from the transfer portal, even if you wanted to. But moving forward, you want to just keep focusing on high schools, try to ignore the transfer portal as much as possible, or is it kind of a case-by-case and year-by-year?
No, it's not that we ignore anything. Okay. We're going to build our roster primarily through high school recruiting. That will always be the case. Hopefully we do a good job with the retention of guys in our program that we feel like can continue to develop. And that puts you in a position of strength so that you can continue building the right way. I think for some of these programs, they get in a position of need where maybe they need 5, 6, 7 guys. And obviously, if you do that primarily through high school guys, then you're going to be the youngest team in the country. When we first got here, there ended up being 3 returning players, so we had to make sure that we went out and, created a roster that made sense from a class standpoint. We wanted to make sure that we brought in guys that we felt like would be a fit for us. But that's very, very challenging when you're recruiting transfers because it's a microwave recruitment. When we recruited Tyler Kolek, it was really unique in that, and you can ask him how he felt from his side, but the first time I talked to him, it was like, I already know this guy. Like, it was a shared understanding that was very rare for not really knowing one another. That's a needle in the haystack as it relates to the transfer portal. So for us, you take, for example, the 3 freshmen that we have that just got here a couple weeks ago, Trey Norman, Al Amadou, and Zayd Lowry. We literally have 2 years worth of relationships with those guys and their families. Their families are just as important as they are in this process because I just told a young man who was visiting this earlier today, if we tell a player that the sky's blue and their family says, no, the sky's red, that guy can't be a good player. It's too hard. There's too much, there's smoke coming out of his ears during the game because the coaches said, make that extra pass, and dad said, shoot the pull-up jumper. So the relationships we have in place with the guys we recruit from the high school level, they really help us to spur the development and then help them be focused on relationships, growth, and victory, which is what we care about here.
Retention's such a big word now. You guys have been successful at it the last couple of years. I'm just curious if you guys tweaked your approach just to making sure that happens over the last couple of years?
No, retention's always been really, really important. It's just people are maybe paying more attention to it now. But retention, in my opinion, has always been even more important than recruiting because if you recruit good players, then all of a sudden the first day they step foot on campus, now it's about retention of good players. There's a lot of things that go into that. Number one, the experience that guys are having. Do they feel like Marquette is a place that provides them with a great experience academically, the basketball experience, the people that they're around, being on this campus. There's something about being on this campus where you feel included. It's an inclusive place. Number two, the relationships you have with your coaches and your teammates. None of us are here in a vacuum. There's a context around all of this. So the way that Tyler Kolek feels about his roommate, Oso Ighodaro, is very, very powerful. That's a powerful thing. You want to be at places with people that make you feel good and that make you feel valued and that push you to be better. And then number three, there's a bunch of pragmatic elements of what causes someone to want to be somewhere and continue to want to be somewhere, whether it's playing time, whether it's the role you have on your team, whether it's NIL, which matters, whether it is the way that your family feels. Like those are all things that matter as well. But we just want to do a good job making sure the experience our guys have and the relationships they have and the winning that they experience matches their expectations, and that they know they have to play the starring role in that. We can't just have them on the sidelines and create that for them. They have to play the starring role.
With how successful you guys have been the last 2 years and coming out there, year you guys did, do you enjoy the challenge of just sustaining that success, or how do you kind of approach every year?
Absolutely. Like I said, that's our mission, to create and sustain championship level success. We're in the Big East. I love it. I mean, it's 11 teams that care deeply about men's basketball. We just added to our league maybe the finest college basketball coach in the last 40 years. And it's like, all right, this is what a league to be a part of. And you look across the conference, and we have the national champions in our conference. You've got, Villanova, who's been a standard bearer for so long, Creighton, Providence, Georgia, all these teams in our league that have been terrific. And so, yeah, it's a heck of a challenge to sustain what we've done. But at the same time, as I told our guys, this team is a brand new team. And there's a lot of things that we'll take from last year, but this is a completely different group. And it's actually primarily different, not because our roster is somewhat different, but because our players and our returning players are different. Tyler Kolek, as a man, is completely different than who he was last year at this time because of the experiences he's had. And so now the exciting thing is, how do we take that with each of our guys and where they are and bring them together, with June and July being the foundation for this next season, and how do we build championship habits that will in turn allow us to win a championship?
One of the things that will be different this year is that last year the expectations were not that high. This year they will be.
Whose expectations?
Outside expectations. Does that matter at all? I mean, some national
Yeah.
predictions of you in the top 5, even number 1 in some places.
Yeah, let me be clear. Our expectations are always high. I don't think you would have asked Tyler Kolek at this time last year, hey, are your expectations low for yourself and for your team in this upcoming season? If your expectations were low of us, or at any point are low, that's up to you. If your expectations are high, that's up to you. For us, we are trying to get better with our relationships internally within our program. First and foremost, players and players, but also players and coaches and coaches and coaches. Number 2, we aggressively want to pursue growth every day. That's regardless of whether you think we're the best or worst in the league. So when Tyler Kolek comes back here at 11 o'clock at night to go in the gym and get better with his shooting, that's not because someone expects him to shoot the ball well or expects him not to shoot the ball well. It's because he wants to be the best. And then number 3, we value victory. So whether we're expected to win a game, we want to win. If we're expected to lose a game, we want to win. And we know we've been doing it long enough to know that you can win if you're the underdog or you can win if you're the favorite. People say, well, which would you rather be? I really don't care. We have a group of guys that believe in one another, and we have a coaching staff that believes in our guys. And sometimes the coaching staff's belief is a little bit ahead of the individual player in himself, and is a lot ahead of the people on the internet or on social media or on blogs. There's people last time this year that thought we were crazy to not take a transfer over Stevie Mitchell or Oso Ighodaro or David Joplin. Well, do they like them now? I love those guys. I will always love those guys as long as they're here. And so we don't really care about the expectations. To your point, it does put a target on your back where other teams are going to want to beat you even more. Great. I love that. Come on. It's going to be fun. If you're a competitor, that's what it's about. And we're down there. We had a team workout yesterday. We're down there. Our guys are competing with one another. They're not really stopping in between plays to check what's being tweeted about our team. They're going to compete to get better.
Speaking of great players, I know you didn't coach him, but what does it mean to have someone like Jimmy Butler perform the way he's been playing in the NBA, come through Marquette, representing Marquette?
He's been an inspiration to anyone that values competitiveness. Marquette, him being a Marquette alum aside, you can't watch him and not be on the edge of your seat about the way that he approaches competing. And you talk about expectations. They're the 8th seed. They were the underdog in the Bucks series, the Knicks series, the Celtics series, and now the finals against the Nuggets. And it's been so much fun to watch him and his teammates say, I don't really care what the odds makers say. I don't really care that I'm the underdog. The Marquette tie is cool. I tried to go to Tyler Junior College. I did go to Tyler Junior College and tried to recruit him as a young assistant coach at Clemson, unsuccessfully. In fact, Buzz was there. The day I was there, I knew we were in trouble. But to see where he's come from then, he went to junior college not for academic reasons, because he was under-recruited. That's why he went to junior college. And now he's one of the best players in the world, so pretty cool.
Shaka, on Omax, obviously what he did is certainly nothing new, but speaking of people on the outside, some would say, oh man, if he came back, this team would be unbelievable. I'm guessing that you have a differing opinion on that and what he did in the combine and what he's going to do in the NBA.
Well, first of all, I think with the commitment that our guys make to our way here at Marquette, we owe it to them to be 1,000% supportive of them in whatever process they want to follow. Let's be honest. Even if Marquette may be the be-all and end-all for some of us, it is not the be-all and end-all for a basketball player that has aspirations to be in the NBA. And so our job is to make sure that we make our guys' dreams and goals our dreams and goals. But at the same time, we help them understand that the best way to accomplish that is through winning while they're here. I've coached a few guys like this, and I see this playing out with Omax right now. We talk about our guys needing to be stars in their roles, and that's exactly what he did. On our team, he was our 3rd or 4th leading scorer. He was on a team where Tyler Kolek was Big East Player of the Year. Oso and Cam were 2nd team All-Conference. David Joplin was 6th Man of the Year. But what Omax did is he did an unbelievable job of taking ownership of his role, getting better and better within that, gaining confidence, and having an unbelievable energy and spirit about him for winning. And guess what the NBA wants? They want guys that are going to be role players and take ownership in their role and care about winning and be competitive and come in, be low maintenance, be guys that will be coachable, be receptive. And so the Omax that I saw at the Combine was the same guy I saw every day downstairs here at the Al McGuire Center and every time we took the floor at Fiserv. Energy, activity, a great teammate, someone that was willing to communicate, someone that was receptive to coaching. And that's where it's pretty cool as a coach. You see the things that, as a staff, we've emphasized to these guys and them owning those things and those things ending up helping them as they go through the process.
Without Omax, job seems to be in line for an even bigger role than you had the last couple of years.
Everyone's in line.
Yeah, different player than Omax, though. Like, do you need to change anything schematically, or what do you want to see out of job specifically?
Yeah, so it's just like when Justin left last year. There's no one player that you're going to say, okay, he's going to replace that. For us, everyone's in line to take advantage of an opportunity or a void created by someone leaving. We have a variety of guys on our team that have an opportunity to grow and improve, starting with Tyler Kolek, the Big East Player of the Year, and going all the way down to our new guys that don't know the difference between a lot of things. I will say this. Last year, as important of a group or a class for us to our success as there was our sophomore class. Stevie Mitchell, Cam Jones, David Joplin, those guys took a huge jump from having smaller roles to being significant key contributors, 2 of them starters, one of them the 6th Man of the Year in the league for our team, and that went a long way towards us winning the Big East. This year coming up, our sophomore class, Ben Gold, Sean Jones, Chase Ross, they're in the exact same position. Those guys actually played a little bit more than the last year, the group that was a year ahead of them. and we need those guys to take a huge jump. So those are 3 guys for sure that are in line to step forward with Omax's departure, or even just with us going into a new year. We have probably the most challenging schedule. There's some Marquette historians here, challenge you to go find a harder schedule than the one we're about to play. We have at Illinois, we have at Wisconsin, we're home against Texas, we're home against Notre Dame. You've seen the Maui field, the teams we play there, and then the Big East is going to be as good as it's been for a long, long time. So we absolutely need each and every one of our guys to step forward and grow and be better. And then these 3 young guys that don't even know what a college basketball game's all about yet, they're going to learn really, really quickly, and we expect them to be contributors too.
With Tyler, just again, with all he's accomplished, what do you envision that next step being for him, whether it's on the court or leadership or whatnot?
Tyler? Well, great thing about Tyler is he's very, very hard on himself, and he doesn't mind his coaches pushing him to grow. So there's a ton of areas where we are going to continue to push him to be better. We define leadership as the ability to make others better. And I thought he was terrific as a leader last year, but I think he can take even another step. He and Oso have reached a point where it's kind of a tipping point in coaching, where they tell me more now than I tell them. So part of his growth is understanding when and where to come to me and our staff, and how to give us guidance on how we can better move forward as a team on that day or in that next game or within a game itself. I think Tyler's shooting. Last year I stood here and a bunch of people questioned whether Tyler would ever be a good shooter. The good thing is we don't really pay attention to what anyone else thinks. I think Tyler can take another jump with his shooting. I think he can shoot over 40% from 3, maybe closer to 50, because he's that good of a shooter. He took a major jump in his ability to understand when should I shoot, when should I pass last year, and I would like to see him shoot a little bit more than he did last year. So he's been working his butt off on it. The defensive end is an area where we need to see him take another jump. With Omax moving on, who was one of our better defenders, every guy on our team is going to have to be better on defense, because for us, with the goals that we have internally as a group, having the 43rd best defense in the country is not good enough. Our goal is to be significantly better on that end of the floor.
Coach, you kind of talk about relationships, and a lot of those can kind of build on foreign tours. My understanding is you guys are all going on a foreign tour as well. First, where are you all going, and what benefit can that do for a team like that where you value that time together?
We're going to Italy, and we're leaving in early August. Really excited about that trip. I don't think we have anyone on our team from a player standpoint that's been there. So last year at this time, we took a little straw poll, and we said, guys, would you rather go to Italy or Spain or Australia? And great thing about being at Marquette, there's options. We pretty much could go anywhere we wanted to go, and most of our guys said Italy. I've been on a foreign tour with a team there, and it's second to none. The cultural experiences, some of the things that the guys will get to see and do will be life-changing, and there'll be things that they never forget. And then the fact that we'll experience it together will be very, very special. We will play some games over there, so it's a chance, particularly for some of our young players, to get some valuable game experience that we wouldn't normally get in the summer. But way more important than the basketball is the continued relationship building and understanding. When we get back from that trip, we want to understand each other better, understand how to make each other grow and develop even more, and have some fun too.